How's it going, everybody? It is 3:16 p.m. September 7th, 2017. I have you on current satellite images. Here we have Irma passing north over Dominican Republic. All right, we have Katia here in the Gulf of Mexico, Category 1 storm. This is expected to move to the west coast of Mexico. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Here we have Jose following Irma. And then, guys, we have another tropical depression forming after Jose. We have 3 active hurricanes as we speak, which is rare enough as it is, with a possibility of 4 at the same time. Unbelievable. Okay, guys, before I even get started, I have some websites I need people to listen to. These have been all over TV. This is for those of you that don't know this. If you're in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, these are specific to your state websites that will let you know if your area is being evacuated and where to go. So really quick, these will be down in the description box. For Florida, floridadisaster.com. Georgia is ready.ga.gov. South Carolina is scemd.org. And North Carolina is ncdot.gov. Again, those will be the sites you visit to see if your area is being evacuated and where to go. Very, very important. Also, for the people in Florida that don't know this yet, for those of you that are leaving the East Coast and evacuating, once you cross over Federal Highway and head west, you will no longer be allowed to come back over the highway to head east. As in, once you leave your home on the East Coast on that side of the highway, you will not be allowed to go back to your house until the storm clears out and until it's safe, basically. It's a safety concern. So it's very important that when you guys are packing your stuff, you have everything you need. You will not be allowed back to your homes in that area. Okay? So those are the warnings that I wanted to give out to start this video. Currently, our pressure is at 921, a little bit of a rise from 914. Again, though, guys, we need to remember, Irma is moving right in towards the southern tip of Florida, which are some of the warmest waters in the world. Hurricane Andrew and Hurricane Katrina both gained strength in these exact areas. So if that happens, it's not rare. It's just the way things go with hurricanes. They are fueled by warm water. And because Irma is now tracked to pass right in this gap here, if you're following my mouse, the eye of the storm is going to be in constant warm water. And usually when that happens, these storms get stronger. Now, I know the winds have died down a tad, like basically not at all. We're talking 185 to 175 now. Guys, that's only 10 miles an hour. I want you to picture those of you that watch baseball or have played baseball. Imagine getting hit with a 90 to 100 mile an hour fastball. You see what that does to a person. It's hard to watch. It hurts. Now add 75 miles an hour to that, and those are the wind speeds we're talking about. Again, they may not be the wind speeds that we have when this thing makes landfall, whether landfall first would be southern Florida or if landfall is up in Georgia, South Carolina. If it does end up being landfall in Georgia, South Carolina, I'm expecting those winds to die down a little. It still could be a Cat 4 storm, guys, when it makes landfall. So it's really not a matter of the wind right now. It's being aware of where the storm is going to go. Again, I want you to pay attention to Katia. Now, again, I'm saying this thing is probably moving out to the west across Mexico. If you notice, some of these clouds and bands, they're getting sucked out west. That's usually the trajectory of a storm in this area based on what's going on around it. But also, you notice some of these bands are being pulled out by the front that just left the U.S. And this front is due to our jet stream. If you remember, here's a good picture to look at for the jet stream. Here's a picture of that front I was just talking about. It's moving out into the ocean as Katia is making its move this way, and this front's moving this way. I showed you the jet stream line that came down about here on those charts I've been going over. That's what's controlling this front here. So what we're waiting for is this front to pass off into the ocean, and what it does is it almost creates a sort of like a suction tunnel. Picture Katia moving out this way, this whipping out in this direction, basically sucking Irma up into this area. And that's why some of the models that you were seeing were showing Irma coming up the east coast of Florida and then hooking like a left turn into the states here. That may change, but that's what they're saying based on the jet stream. And that's why I was trying to put a lot of focus on the jet stream in the last couple of videos. They've been focusing on that non-stop lately because, guys, the Atlantic Ocean is a constant high. It rarely changes. That's why these hurricanes, they form right around these islands here, Cape Verde, and then once they start heading west, that's because of the force here. Picture like this big bubble that's not allowing anything to come up in this direction, so they flow this way, and then once they interact between whatever's going on in the Gulf and our jet stream, that's when they make a decision to go into the Gulf or come up the East Coast. If there's high pressure in the U.S. that's pushing down this way, a low jet stream, that will not allow hurricanes to come up in this area. That's why hurricanes come into the Gulf. But because we have Katia here, we have a high loop in the jet stream and a front just moving out, it's going to create like this suction. And once Irma makes that northern approach, it's basically going to be pulled in this way. That's what the data is showing right now, so that's what I'm focusing on. Here is Ventus sky. Here is Thursday the 7th. This is about right now what we're seeing. Here's Friday. And here's Saturday, guys. This is where we get into the warm water. And now that we see that the eye of the hurricane is projected to be in between these two land masses here, this is in total warm water, some of the warmest on planet Earth, okay? You can look that up if you want. Again, Andrew and Katrina both gain strength here, and this is why these warnings in these states are so important. We may have two landfalls, southern Florida, and then I guess landfall was actually being shown near, let's actually look at it. I think it was Charleston. This one's a little more south. We're basically right at the border of Georgia and South Carolina with landfall. Now again, this may be a second landfall. If it does hit Florida here, that would be considered one. Here would be two. The storm should be a bit weaker as it heads north into this direction, but not weak at all, guys. This is major. I just watched a press conference in Savannah. They are preparing themselves as if they are in Florida. Let's see what else I have for you here. This chart again also has these three named storms. We got three going on at once with a fourth coming. Jet stream moving out. Covered that. Here's a close-up satellite view. I like to show you different views, guys, so you don't have to look at the same thing every video. I'm sure you're getting system overload once again. Ventus sky, and I have some pictures for you that I want you to look at. Okay, this is a power outage estimate, I want to say. So the darker the color here, the higher chance of loss of power. I mean, guys, we can expect basically the whole east coast of Florida to lose power if the path that we are seeing stays this way, but that's not it. Once the storm makes landfall, it's going to affect all these areas. It's like a domino effect, all right? Areas of power get overloaded, you know, and they fail. Sometimes they even turn the power off to avoid problems. So this is a very important chart to look at. You can Google power outage estimates. You can any sort of wording like that, and you'll find this type of graph important to look at. Okay, this may be hard to follow. If you follow my mouse, here's the Gulf here, and here's the tip of Florida, southern tip right here. Here is Irma. And this is just another version of what I'm explaining with the jet stream, how drastic this thing comes down. The actual jet stream model I showed you was more of this top loop here, but this, it's big, so it controls that entire front that was up and down the east coast. And this also adds to what I was saying before, with Katia here moving this way. You could see some of these wind arrows moving that way. That's also because of the jet stream, and some of them are getting pulled out this way, like I showed you with that cloud coverage. Some of the bands getting pulled west, some getting pulled this way by the front that's leaving. So that's going to create a suction, almost, or a path for Irma to go in. And again, that's why they were specifically talking about that little left hook once it makes landfall, why it'll affect those areas, and why that power outage map showed those areas, almost like a cone. So again, guys, it's the jet stream that is making the decisions right now. We have constant high pressure in the Atlantic Ocean, which is force. I said that before. It keeps these hurricanes on a westward path. I have some information on Jose. Here are some early spaghetti models for Jose. They are already preparing in the Leeward Islands, areas like St. Thomas, again, that basically just got destroyed. They are expecting another hurricane. It's still a ways out to go anywhere in this area. So I'm following it right here. This is a pretty constant path. And then after that, you guys know firsthand, we just don't know. We'll make our predictions. We'll show you the data, but we just don't know where landfall is going to be. Here's another chart for Jose, time frame, just like the other one I showed you for Irma. By the time they expect Irma to make its first landfall in Florida is right about here. So Jose is estimated to be in this area when and if we have landfall in southern Florida. And then between Monday 8 a.m. and Tuesday 8 a.m., between this time period is when we are now expecting landfall in Georgia, South Carolina. So just to give you an idea of where Jose is projected to be. Now guys, we have a hurricane that comes inland here, and we have one sitting right here. Who knows where this one's going to go? All right, so I will be putting time into that as well. Don't worry. Okay, I did that chart, and this one is a combined chart. Here is Irma's path, and then Jose also. So you can see that a lot of these maps and these weather stations are now putting a lot of focus on Irma. Irma's getting stronger, guys. Maybe Category 2 by tomorrow even. I hate to say it, but it's true. We saw that one, and I think we covered the pictures. All right, we did. We covered this. Another little satellite image. Time frame. And here's our Navy satellite once again. So guys, just to recap really quick, this is what we're looking out for, and this is the main point of the update. This front is now moving out. Katia is going to be shifting west, hopefully, and we are going to see Irma move up into these warm waters, possibly gaining strength, and then it's time to really think about, you know, what kind of plans you have if you're in Georgia, South Carolina, because guys, all the models are showing this thing coming right up here. So whether or not this is going to be a Category 2, a 3, or if it's even a 1, everybody on the coast needs to know about this. Guys, please check these websites I put out. They're all over TV. For those of you that don't know, you need to know if your area is being evacuated. I will be following these storms a lot today. I have the rest of the day free, so I can put together more information for you. Guys, I appreciate you sticking with me. I'm sorry this update took so long. Stay up to date with your local weather. That is very important. They're doing all sorts of press conferences now. Guys, it's getting real. It's time to hunker down and get ready for this thing. And then after that, we got to deal with Jose. It's hurricane season, and it's a busy one, to say the least. Guys, I appreciate your time. I will talk to you all soon in the next update. Take care.